circuit. Ricardo Tormo is the host for round 2 of the 2023 Finetwork FIM JuniorGP World Championship, and part of that paddock is the European Talent Cup. One of the biggest feeder classes and perhaps one of the most interesting in this paddock. This is where the talent isn't just born, it's made. About the circuit itself, it's 4 kilometres in length, or 2.5 miles for British and American audiences. Turn 1 is an overtaking opportunity, as is turn 2, but between there and round about turn 8, it's relatively one line. We can get past the final corner if you're brave enough. Kiko Giles still here alongside Steve English. We're taking you through today. 1 race is already ticked off. We've got 5 more to go. It's a long day, it's a busy day of racing, and that's why we love it. European Talent Cup action up next, Steve. What can we expect from this one? Because like we were discussing on the way here, this is a really interesting class this year.
This is probably the class to watch this year, to be honest. This is where, with the changing of the minimum age limits, the ETC probably has the deepest pool of talent in the Junior GP paddock. So this is the class that I think should get a lot of attention through the course of this year. So far this season, Brian Uriarte on the number 51 machine. He is our pole setter. He won both races in Estoril. Looks very strong to start the campaign, but you never really know what's going to happen in ETC. Everyone out there on identical machinery. Comes down to the rider to make the difference. He was able to make the difference in Estoril. Can he keep that form through to round 2 here in Valencia?
Well, we'll have a look back at Estoril very, very soon. Uriarte, perhaps, the rider, because he's got the experience, not perhaps a surprise, some might say. He actually could be considered one of the favourites because he's got that couple of years experience. We're going to see what happened here. This was back at Estoril. 2 races for the lads out there that time around. And it wasn't, like we say, the race 1 at least was an absolute riot for the Monlau team. That's an enormous accident at turn 5. Somehow Alberto Fernandez and Carter Thompson got away with that, but it was their race done and dusted. But like I say, the Monlau team are having an absolute field day at the front. Some really close finish in there. Uriarte denying Rico Salmela, the Finnish rider, a first victory in the class and thus a first win for Finland. Race 2 was more of the same, although this time reigning title holder Guido Pini with the recognisable number 1 hit the front, and he was in the mix. It was a much more traditional European Talent Cup race until this moment. Pini taking out Hakim Danish with 2 laps to go. Uriarte achieved a double. Can he do it again here? Well, we're about to find out. This is back with your live coverage here from the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. Perfect conditions of racing. 24 degrees air temperature, 28 degrees track temperature. It's in that optimum range. It's towards the end of May. It's not a lot we can really expect otherwise. It's almost ideal here in Valencia. Steve English alongside me, Kiko Giles, and now we're going to take a look through the grid. The guys just on there sighting up. Steve, let's just talk about what we've seen so far this year. ETC, as always, the class to watch, but we are in for a proper lottery. We've got a defending champion with the number 1. We've got experience in Brian Uriarte. We've got Alberto Fernandez in there. New riders like David Gonzalez who have really come to the fore. There's so much to get our teeth into, and we've not even spoke about the 2 race wins of Casey O'Gorman from the end of last year.
It's one of those situations you mentioned there about Guido Pini, the champion last season in the ETC, riding now with the number 1 plate. It's such an unusual prospect to see a rider come through the Talent Cups and then have to stick around, and we've seen that over the last few years with O'Gorman. Keep an eye out for the number 67. He's on the 3rd row of the grid. Keep an eye out for the likes of Max Quirez as well. He's a rider that won this a few years ago. He's still in the class. The reason for that is the changing age limits have meant that these riders have to stick around, and then they'll be able to age themselves out into the Moto3 Junior World Championship. But that means that in the ETC field, it's absolutely stacked now, and you've got 10, maybe even 12 riders that all have that talent to make the next step and be front runners in the Moto3 Junior World Championship. So this really is the race to watch today for me.
Yeah, and good news is we've got 2 of them. So we'll have to keep something in reserve for this. It's all, as we're talking about, it's almost like there's a logjam of talent. Not because there isn't the availability to move up because teams are occupied in JuniorGP, da-da-da-da-da. It's because of, as we say, the age limit. So they've got to stick around. They've got to learn their craft a bit more. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes, you know, riders can move up a bit too quickly and we miss a bit of the storytelling because they've not had long enough to build up that reputation. But for example, one of the key stories coming into this year, Max Quiles, who was previously Max Martinez, I must say, just to clarify that, we haven't got a new rider. He is the same rider as before. Should have been actually on pole, but he's got a penalty. He started from the back of the grid. He lost the title last year, relinquished the title. He's aiming to get it back this year. Talked now about the grid. Brian Uriarte, I can't say much more. He's on pole. It's been a perfect start with 2 race wins at Estoril. He is one of the favourites. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, for Uriarte, he's been very impressive in the ETC over the years. He's been able to claim 5 race victories, including here in Valencia 2 years ago. So the number 51, certainly he wants to maintain that form. He's with that Monlau competition junior team as well. So good team of people around him.
Best name on the grid, Dodo Boggio. Second on this grid, he actually qualified third, but as I say, Quiles now has a penalty. Points for how many times we do that across the course of today. Boggio, 2 wins from last year at Jerez, 4 podiums across last year. 11th and 4th though at Estoril, not perhaps the best start to his season that he would have been wanting.
Had a podium here in Valencia last year as well, so he'll try and maintain that kind of form, give himself decent points, and just try and get through this round, get yourself back onto an even footing with a lot of riders in the championship.
There we go. Someone told Guido Pini, surely in the off-season, just slap a number 1 on it, and he's done it. Guido Pini, the reigning champion, third on the grid today. He's only had 1 win. That was at Aragon last year, and he's still yet to have a pole position. He had a tricky first round, no podium, and he took out Hakim Danish, as we said, with a lap and a half to go. What can we expect here today?
Fresh from a podium in the Rookies Cup at Le Mans last weekend as well. So he's a rider that got that bit of confidence about himself, and now it's trying to make sure that he's able to get himself back to winning races here in the ETC.
Massive crash for this guy in race 1 of the season, Alberto Ferrandez. That was frightening. Turn 5 at Estoril. No, thank you very much. 5th in race 2, so good stuff from him. And again, like we saw with Pini, podium in the Red Bull Rookies last time out as well, so good stuff from him.
He's also a rider that's had a podium in the Moto 3 class in the Junior World Championship as well here in Valencia last year. So it's all about trying to just make sure that in the ETC this year he's got that more consistent top 5 feel all the way through the season, and then try and claim his first race victory.
Rico Salmella, the number 27, will go from 5th, the diminutive Finnish rider. It's a Red Bull Rookies race winner from last year, and he's aiming to become the first Finnish rider to take a victory in this class this year. 2nd and 6th in the opening race of the year. Not so bad.
He's also had a couple of podiums so far in the Rookies Cup at the opening round in Portimao, and then also last time out in Le Mans. So he's a rider that's got that bit of form already this season as well.
Plenty of riders to keep an eye on all the way through the field, the next of which is the number 11 on the Cuna de Campeones Honda team, David Gonzalez. Now, the 15-year-old from Cadiz in Spain, down in Andalusia, podium last time out. This kid has got some serious, serious talent. He's really coming up through the ranks. I first saw him last year, and my goodness, has he made an impression this year.
I was told to keep an eye out for him by David Clares, the World Superbike photographer from down in Cadiz. And certainly Gonzalez on the opening round of the year had everyone keeping an eye on him as well. Very impressive. Now it's up to him to just show that he can do that week in, week out, but qualifying well here certainly gives him that opportunity.
Not sure quite what's going on with this hand movement and hair play going down at the AC Racing team. But this is Giulio Pugliese, the 14-year-old from Italy, 4th on the grid at Estoril, 6th in the race, and first points of 2022 came here last year at Valencia. So this kid has got pace as well. Yeah,
and in the Italian Talent Cup, he was actually very impressive in the CIV Pre-Moto 3 Championship. He was 2nd last year, claimed a lot of race victories as well. And he was pretty much a regular podium man, 7 podiums in that championship last season. So a rider worth keeping an eye on for what he's going to be able to do as he grows into the ETC. As is this rider, the number 7 of Beñat Fernandez, the 15-year-old. Only previous point scoring finish came at Valencia before the start of this year. And this is a rider, he was looking so good at Estoril, I must say.
he can deliver. Keep an eye out for the number 7. He's one of my riders to watch for sure in this race, along with the number 11 of David Gonzalez. Next up, we have Casey O'Gorman. Here he is. Casey nursing an injury, picks up from qualifying in the last round at Estoril. So far, not an ideal season, but we know Steve. He won here last year. He won 2 races in total last year. He is one of the most exciting prospects coming through the ranks in World Championship racing.
Had a quick chat with Michael Laverty this morning as well. And MLav, not actually here in Valencia, he's been able to hand over the reins of the team to a much greater extent and able to just enjoy watching from home for a change. But he said that Casey's pace is good for the race, and we'll see what he's able to do on the 67. Obviously, that injury, it has hampered him so far this season, but he is a race winner in the ETC. He's also a rider that's been a regular front runner in the Rookies Cup and a podium man in it, so we know the talent's there for Casey.
Michael Laverty not at a race meeting. My good Lord, what is the world coming to? Hope you're well, Michael, at home. This is Adriano Donoso. He has 1 point scoring finish with 12th in his first ever race at Estoril from Badajoz in Spain. Never previously qualified for any race at Valencia, but he's put that to bed this year.
I have to say the most noteworthy thing for Adri as well, born on Christmas Day. Always a good one to know for the riders. But we'll see what he can do from that 4th row of the grid. Good team around him with that Legalis Honda team as well. That's a team that you can progress through the ranks as well.
Yeah, a Christmas Day birthday. I mean, it's lucky and also unlucky. I don't have one myself, but that's just a way for your parents to give you your same presents, but not actually two amounts full, surely?
My uncle's born Christmas Eve and he always seemed to get the biggest present. At least that's what my dad says.
Well, I'm staying out of it. It's bad enough I'm born in March. This is Pau Alsina. He's always one to watch. Always in the battle for the top 10. He's yet to convert it. I've been saying this now for about a year. Alsina really should be a little bit further up, but he's still young, got plenty of time to prove himself. As everyone clears from the grid, we'll be getting going very, very soon. Other riders to keep an eye on. This is Lorenzo Tony Luciano. No, he's not a gangster from an 80s TV series or anything. That is his name, a great name at that. 14th and 9th in the first round, Steve. We've had our eyes on him for a little while now, the Belgian, and he's coming good. Yeah,
he's come through the ranks of the French Championships, the Northern Talent Cup, raced in the Rookies Cup as well last season and this season, and he's been able to score some good points finishes so far this year.
Brian Uriarte on pole. Will he convert? Race 1 of the European Talent Cup is ready to go. This is the 3rd race of 11 scheduled for this season. Uriarte, Poggio and Pini, an exciting front row. Alberto Fernández, Salmela and David Gonzalez. Please keep an eye on that number 11. Pugliese, Fernandez and Casey O'Gorman complete the 3rd row. Adriano Donoso, born on Christmas Day, 10th place. Pau Alsina, Luciano, Torres, Emmanuel Brinton doing it for the Brits in 14th, and Herlich in 15th, Valentino Herlich. Christian Daniel, America, in 16th place. Riders right away through the field, including the Vietnamese Luca Agostinelli in 22nd place. Max Quiles was meant to start on the front row in pole position, but he's got a penalty, as has Jesus Rios behind him. So keep an eye out further downfield because that is going to be exciting. 25th and 26th, they're way back on row 8. So, in fact, might even be row 9. They have got work to do. We saw Max Martinez in Estoril last time out, 28th to 4th. So he can definitely do it. Whether or not he will here, Valencia, slightly more technical, yet to see.
Yeah, Max Quiles on the 28th. We can see one rider at the back just having an issue off the line there.
70, I think. Is that Christian Daniel, the American?
It might well be. It looks like he's been moved into pit lane anyway, so he'll be able to take the start from there. But for Max Quiles, the artist formerly known as Max Martinez, the number 28 machine, was relegated to the back of the grid, but we had lots of other riders getting their back to grid penalties. One of the others to keep an eye on, Hakim Danish as well, on the number 13 machine. We've seen him make plenty of progress through the field in the past. We'll see what he's going to be able to do in this race as well. And Max Aguilar will be right at the back of the field. And Max has actually been able to show a few bits and pieces in the junior categories coming through. So he's a rider to keep an eye on for later in the season, you'd imagine, as he gains a little bit more experience in the European Talent Cup.
I think I said it was Christian Daniel who went in pit lane. It might be his teammate, the other MRE talent machine. That is Jesus Rios. So I've already put the kibosh on him then. If it is, I said watch out for him. I'm going to have to keep a real big eye out for him this time. This is the warm-up lap, Steve. These bikes, it is all about corner speed and it is all about slipstreaming. Valencia not known for that kind of racing in terms of slipstream battles, but we always see a classic here. What can we really expect, and what's the strategy in this kind of race?
Well, strategy is the key thing really in the European Talent Cup. It comes down to being able to make sure you're able to stay in the lead groups, stay in contention, and then try and make sure that on the last lap you're able to attack. We saw last year, the first race we had here was won by Joel Esteban. We've just seen him in the Moto 3 class, very competitive. It was actually the number 90 that will start from pit lane, so that's Agostinelli, so it's a shame for him to start all the way down the order. Uriarte last year here, our pole setter, was second in race 1, and he was obviously very competitive in the opening round of the year. He won both races in Estoril. Pole man now, Brian Uriarte. He is the rider to keep an eye on in terms of the riders making that big step forward this season. And certainly last year we saw Guido Pini on the number 1 machine, the 28 of Queiroz, and then also Casey O'Gorman regularly at the front of the field. Now we wait and see if other riders are able to really make that next step and give themselves the chance of being able to be regular race winners.
The defending champion there on the front row, the number 1 of Guido Pini, as everyone rolls into position. Uriarte, well, 2 wins at the start of this season. Will he be able to make it? 3 on the spin. We are ready for race 1 in the European Talent Cup from Valencia. We're into it. Good start from pole, good start from third. Guido Pini got that launch very, very well indeed. Wow, look at Max Quiles. The 28 weaved his way through there in the background of your picture. Taking a whole shot towards turn 1 though is Uriarte from Poggio. And Guido Pini, the defending title holder, is there in third place. Lots of riders running out wide. Casey O'Gorman, fantastic start from him as he gets pushed back to 5th. He was up to 4th. That was the 93 of Ferrandez, who went there. We got Skittles at the back. Can't see who that is, the 33. If it is, that is Enzo Bellon, and I think Valentino Herlich went down with him. Luca Agostinelli starting from the pit lane, but no problems out front for your 51. Brian Uriarte leads at turn 6.
Yeah, super start from the pole setter, and also from Toto Baggio on the number 47 machine to convert his second on the grid. But Casey O'Gorman from that third row start, we saw him make a really good initial jump off the line and then able to hold on to a top 5 spot now. But you have to say the 28 though of Max Quiles, a super start from him to get himself up the order.
Quiles with a fantastic start. He only made up 5 places come the end, but he was weaving his way through. Fantastic stuff. Confirmation it was Bellon and Herlich who went down at turn 2. Both riders are okay. Their race is run. We've got a long lap penalty, of course, to serve for Max Quiles. That is for his infringement yesterday for riding slowly, so that was already in. I think he'll probably serve that on around lap 2. Back at the front, Guido Pini making a move at the final corner. That is up into second place for the reigning champion. So Pini then leading that charge to second and trying to get on terms with the 51 of Uriarte. Slipstream City then across the line, 1 lap down, 15 still to go as the whole pack stream down the straight. Casey O'Gorman on the far inside, the number 67, but it's Ferrandez who moves on through from, that's 4th up into 2nd. Through he goes, 2nd place, looking to try and get it back is Guido Pini. Oh, no, I don't think so. Everyone looking for a place there. O'Gorman up to 4th, 5th is Poggio, and there's the number 7 in the mix as well. That is Benyats Fernandez. We said to keep an eye on him. We've been pushed out by the 81 of, that's Luciano. So Lorenzo Tony Luciano coming through, the Belgian rider. That's up into 6th place already.
Yeah, and a great start as well from Hakim Dinish. Great first lap. He's up there inside the top 10 on the number 13 machine. One of Zolfami Khairuddin's riders coming through the ranks from Asia and doing a very good job here on the opening lap, having come from a back of the grid penalty.
Pini on the inside at turn 8 of Ferrandez gets that done. The thing is, too much battling, as we saw in the opening race today, without giving too many results away in Junior GP, too much battling, and we're going to get a bit of a strung out field. We got a crash at turn 4 for Gonzalo Perez, who has gone down, along with the 72 of Eduardo Liguri. So the Passini Racing team rider and the team Larasport rider down and out, but both are okay. At the front, Uriarte leading the way ahead of Guido Pini, and oh no he's not, because Ferranda Chatter City going down there into the final corner. That was bouncing around all over the place, but Ferrandez just got it pulled down, second place.
And you could see there for Pini though, ran out on top of the curb over onto the green paint, it looked like. That's something the race stewards are going to keep an eye on all the way through this race, and just to see what everyone is actually doing at this stage.
Straight through up into the lead goes Ferrandez. He runs out wide. Queso Gorman fancied a portion as well. He's there in third. Crowded out at the moment is Guido Pini, who switches to the inside. Still can't make a move here. Queso Gorman, this is a fine ride. We should actually add on that it was a fractured radius from his crash 2 weeks ago or so at Estoril. Missed the races there. Crucial track time missing for O'Gorman, but he's coming good now. A race winner here last year, 2 race winners. Oh, almost building sandcastles in the sandpit then, I think. The number 67 there, O'Gorman, the Irishman.
The top 5 starting to stretch it out. At the back of the top 5 is the Aspar bike of Dodo Baggio. His teammate is Max Quiles all the way down the order. I actually got myself mistaken on the opening lap. It was the 26th that I was looking at that had made a great start from Alsina. He's up in the next group, and for our former champion Quiles on the 28 machine, a rider that needs to make progress now, but we'll see if he's served his long lap penalty. That's also obviously going to drop him down the order.
Yeah, I think he has served a long lap, because the notification's gone away from the bottom of the timing screen here in the commentary box. That front 5, as you say, breaking away. The number 11, I said to keep an eye on him, David Gonzalez. He's got a bit of space ahead of him, but he's not being interfered by from behind, so that's crucial. Gonzalez, oh dear me, that was the number 51 and the number 1 Uriarte and Pini almost coming to blows. Pini up into second.
It was actually Casey O'Gorman on the outside, gets pushed wide, and that opens the door for Pini to come through in the number 1, and he's coming through to the race lead now.
There's a reason the number 1's on the front of that machine, and he's gone through. Pini then, your race leader, as they go down towards turn 1. Ferrandez so good on the brakes and moves his way through into the lead. Does he run wide like he did the last time around? A little bit, but I don't know if it's enough. Of course it's enough. If it's a rider within striking distance, yes. Guido Pini has gone back through. He's leading the way. Ferrandez second. O'Gorman sitting pretty in third ahead of Uriarte, who won the opening 2 races and started on pole. He's in fourth ahead of Poggio, and David Gonzalez is moving into this. He's seventh behind him. Finnish rider Rico Salmela, I think, has just got ahead of Hakim Danish. That's the battle for 7th, or it might be the other way around. Let's have a look. I think it's the other way around. So Danish into 7th. This is starting to close up again. It's a traditional ETC race.
Yeah, and it's closing up because you've got that battle at the front, and you just lose a little bit of momentum, and then the other riders can just start to close up on you, and that's why you tend to have it where the gaps can fluctuate quite a bit during the course of an ETC race. It's about trying to keep yourself out of that trouble. But David Gonzalez, though, one of the stars of the opening round of the year in Estoril, he's doing a good job up here in the top 6 on the number 11 machine.
He really is. It's a fine performance. We're keeping an eye on the number 11 on the Cuna de Campeones bike, black and orange in 6th place. We're keeping an eye on the leader, will be Alberto Ferrandez. He's looked so good down in towards turn 1. Pini's looked good into the final corner. Let's see if he's able to hold on this time around. Watch for Uriarte on the outside of O'Gorman. Are you sure? Wow, good move.
I'm interested to see what the lap times are now. It was a 1 minute 43.2 last time around from the lead group. That's why the lead train is now so big. They come across the line, it's a 42.8, but that means that the 28 of Max Quiles really is making a lot of progress. He's up into the top 6 now, and he's going to be right there battling for the race lead. He's pulled back 3 seconds in the last 2.5 laps.
Incredible from Quiles. No wonder he set the fastest lap of the race quicker. In fact, the only rider in the 41s, it's a low 41. It's a 41.2. So Quiles, wow. I mean, I presume he's taken a long lap. Nothing's come up for us to say he hasn't. So Quiles up in 6th place. Fantastic stuff. And the other rider we said to watch out for on the blue MRE talent bike, the number 54, Jesus Rios, he is up into 8th position. He's just behind David Gonzalez right now. So both of you riders who had to come through the field from the back of the grid have moved on through and are right there in the leading group. Look how big it is.
Yeah, but both of our race leaders ran out onto the green paint there, onto the back straight. This is what we need to keep an eye on. It's always a shame that this is one of the big things that we keep an eye on all the way through races, especially when you've got a big group like this. But it really is what makes the difference. We see lots of times riders get long lap penalties for exceeding the track limits continuously. This is what you have to keep an eye on during the course of races like this. That green paint on the outside of the track, you're not allowed to touch that, and if you do, you will get your penalties. And they do tend to, especially in the ETC, really clamp down on that to try and make sure that the riders learn that lesson early in their career.
How good, can I just say, does it look seeing the number one at the head of a field in a feeder club? Oh my good Lord! How did he pull that down? Max Quiles just went through them like a hot knife through butter, and he's up into second. I don't think he's going to stop there. I was on about the number one lead in a feeder class race. Well, not any longer. Max Quiles, there's a reason. He is an ex-World Championship title holder. He's gone into the lead. Max Quiles from the depths of despair on the grid. He was down outside the top 25. He's leading this, and he's already put gap into him.
He's got the speed as well to take advantage of all the scrapping behind them. So for Quiles, he's just going to get his head down and try and open up a big gap. He's very impressive here in the ETC over the course of the last few years, and we know exactly what he can do. You mentioned about Guido Pini having the number one plate. The feeder class is supposed to move up, but in these days now that there is the change of the minimum age limits across the board for racing, it means that riders like Guido Pini have to stay in the ETC, just like Max Quiles out in front and a few other riders that naturally would have aged themselves up or stepped up to a Moto 3 bike. They now have to wait until that opportunity comes up, probably in the next year for most of them.
We've got two crashes further down the field, the 37 and the 38. That's Marianos Nicolas and Matteo Raman. Both of them out already, turn 11. So that's going to be a bit lively, getting on down there at turn 11. We're coming to that part of the circuit now. This is a replay of Max Quiles, as I'll get that right. There's another Euro for the box. Quiles going straight through them. And look at Uriarte. Not enough said about him, perhaps. 2 in 1, down in towards turn 1. Great stuff there. There's a reason why he is the championship leader. The gap coming down now towards the line is about half a second. And Uriarte, the championship leader, in second position. Well, hopefully that's calmed the rest of the group down as they're seeing Max Quiles try and break this group now. Pini, as I say that, back into second place, and watch Ferrandez on the brakes. He's always good down in towards turn 1. He left that late though, gets it pulled down. Good move from Ferrandez, now up into third place, but Max Quiles looking good here.
The riders in second, third, fourth and fifth all set personal best last time around. The only problem is they're all half a second slower than the race leader, so the gap really is stretching out now for Maximo out in front, and he's trying to just open that gap. It's a case of, in the opening third of the race, if you're able to open up a few seconds, you can then try and control the race from the front. Everyone else will be trying to knock spots off each other, but Quiles doing exactly what he has to do at this stage.
Fantastic ride from Quiles. I mean, maybe we shouldn't be so surprised that he's up at the front. That is not a surprise, even from where he started. It's so quickly though. That's what we're stunned at. So soon after the race start, he's made his way up into the lead of this race from, like I say, absolutely nowhere. He was so far down. He should have qualified on pole, yes, okay, but he still got to cut his way through all the traffic. Fantastic stuff. Ooh, lots of gravel down there. That would have been where the accident was for the two riders that went down, Nicolas and Raman. So a bit of gravel there. Maybe that will need sweeping up. So far, though, everyone through okay. So Quiles now, he's got a second lead. He's got a 9/10 of a second lead. As through on the inside comes Uriarte on Ferrandez.
Quiles is gone, and the battling that's going on for second is costing them lap time. We'll see what it is to come across line once again. Last time around, Quiles was the only rider inside the 41s. He's a 41.6. He's pulled out another half second. All the battling behind them just costs you lap time whenever you've got someone like Max out in front that can get his head down, time trial through it. This is now a battle for second.
This is a battle for second, unless, of course, we have a track limits infringement for your race leader, or he makes a mistake all on his own. I just don't see how this group that we're watching in second place are going to work together. So Quiles controlling this one so far. Let's have a rundown. Quiles ahead of Ferrandez, Uriarte, reigning champion Pini, and Casey Gorman in 5th place. 6th, Dodo Boggio. Jesus Rios in 7th, Rico Salmela up in 8th place. Luciano 9th, 10th for David Gonzalez. He's just dropped back. Up into second there goes Uriarte. Just about keeps it on the curb.
Guido Pini didn't, though.
No.
Looked like he had jumped over that, and that's one of the things that we've seen him do a few times already in this race, so don't be too surprised if the number 1 plate gets himself a warning for track limits pretty soon. And this is one of the things for all the riders in this group. This is about trying to be tidy. You can see Brian Uriarte was right out over the curb, it looked like, again, onto the green paint there, and unsettled the bike as well.
Dear me, that was Rios who had the lunge of all lunges. Sorry to come in there, Steve. Rios coming through, that was up into 6th place. I thought he was going straight to 5th. Casey O'Gorman would have had a mild heart-in-mouth moment there if he looked behind him to his right.
Yeah, I thought he was going through about 3 riders as well, but managed to get it stopped. So very impressive stuff there from Rios on that MRE bike. But at this stage of the race, the pace is so slow for this second group compared to the race leader that it's just bunching everyone up. It's creating opportunities to come through. We're only at half distance, so still lots of running left in this race.
Last time around, the gap was a second. It is 2.1. As we say, Quiles, and he's dropped his pace a lot as well. He's back into 41.7 now, but still a second quicker than everyone else behind him.
The second fastest rider in the field right now is the 81 of Tony Luciano. So he's trying to make his way through this group. He's just at the back of that group. And it does show just how slow the pace is. As you fight with one another, you cost yourself so much lap time, and that means that you just make your group bigger and bigger.
And as well, for ETC Race 2, we will have Max Quiles back on pole position. So this is not good news for everyone else. And look at the rate he's cleared off up the road in this one, even from back down on row 8 or 9. Can't quite remember where he was. Ferrandez looking good in second, but it is only second, and that is where this battle is. Pini, 4th place, just behind Uriarte in 3rd. The rider to watch will be O'Gorman, and behind him, Jesus Rios. Rios is actually one of the fastest riders in this group. As O'Gorman, good move. You can get that done there. It's a good little move that up the inside, parks it. That's for 4th, but does go out onto the green. Does take Guido Pini with him, and don't know about race direction, Steve. That's about the 3rd or 4th time we've seen it here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, for Pini, that's 4 times I've seen him out onto the green paint, and that's definitely something that into the second half of the race is going to get more and more difficult for the riders. Just out in front as well, it's worth mentioning that for Max Quiles, it wasn't the best start to the season for him, but he still ended up with 2 top 4 finishes, a podium in the second race in Estoril. It was Brian Uriarte doing such a good job to win both races. It just makes it look like he was very dominant in that opening round. But for Max on the 28 machine, he started the season quite well. Now's his chance to make up some points on Uriarte and make up for not being able to claim a race victory at the opening round of the year.
Great move that from Casey O'Gorman, who went from 5th to 2nd, and now he's just gone back from 2nd to 4th. That was all in the space of 2 corners. So Casey O'Gorman, the Irishman there, the number 67, looking good here. It's a shame he's kind of got mired in this group, but I don't think anyone really has the pace to go with Quiles anyway.
I think people might have the pace to be with him, but not while you're scrapping like this, and that's where race 2 can be quite different as well. You never know what's going to happen in the afternoon race, but as it is right now, Max just needs time trial, just make sure he's able to get himself to the front of the field, keep himself there, and now just keep opening up that bit of a gap. Last time around he pulled back another second on the rest of the field, so the number 28 is gone, and with a bit of luck we'll only see him in Parc Ferme from now on, because this is what the scrap really is about. It's about trying to get yourself onto the podium, about trying to make sure you're able to pick up some good points today.
O'Gorman up into 3rd, he got that move. Oh wow, the car! Oh dear me, hand waving there. That was Uriarte being shuffled around. I think that was by Guido Pini, who's paid the ultimate price then and ceded about 3 positions. So Uriarte waving his hands in the air, but Guido Pini just doesn't care because he's got a riot going on all around him. Is he looking on the inside of... Oh, got that done there.
It's smart from Uriarte to just show that frustration as well. We saw that at the Spanish Grand Prix in the MotoGP class. If you show your frustration, at least it shows why you've made a mistake. It shows why you're off the track, and it means that the stewards might take a closer eye on what happened to cause that incident as well. But certainly for the number 51 of Uriarte, it's about trying to make sure that in the final third of this race, you keep yourself out of trouble. He had a great opening round of the year. Now this is about consolidating that, trying to get yourself onto the podium. Definitely make sure you're able to come away with a top 5 finish in this big group, and then see what happens in the afternoon race.
Pini on the inside of Boggio, yeah, line out at turn 3, good move, and Gonzalez followed suit that time on Luciano. So Gonzalez moving up into 8th, Pini up into 6th, so 2 riders making progress or making ground back through this group as Uriarte moves on up into 3rd place. Keeps it on the curb as well, doesn't run wide, so that's Ferrandez back to 4th for now. Now he's back through, and Jesus Rios fancies a point. 4 abreast towards turn 8. Are you sure? As they come through, O'Gorman's pretty safe out there in 2nd place at the minute, but the riot behind. Rios 3rd, 4th Pini, 5th Ferrandez. He was up in 3rd a moment ago. Uriarte found himself back in 6th as Pini on the brakes through up the inside.
Super stuff there from Pini as well to hold that line as well. You say Casey's looking a little bit safe out there at the moment. That's for about 2 corners, and then he's back under attack. And this is the situation in the ETC. And certainly on this lap, once again, we've seen Quiles out in front, able to pull out already 9/10 of a second. And it's just because of all this battling. And you can see you're going from 4th to 3rd to 2nd in an instant, really, in this group. So this is just a pure scrap out there. This is fighting in a phone booth.
Yeah, these guys are taking lumps out of each other. We've got long lap penalties coming in. The American rider in 16th place, Christian Daniel, has got one, and also the number 22 of Jesus Torres. He's in 13th, but they don't really affect this group. Jesus Torres was there or thereabouts, but not now at the moment.
Yeah, Torres was trying to close up onto the back of this group, and going onto the back straight exceeded the limits, so that's ended his race really from the perspective of trying to catch this group. He'd actually been doing a good job the previous laps to pull back half a second and give himself a chance of trying to at least stay in contention, but obviously that's not going to be the case now.
Yeah, one rider I'm just keeping an eye on it, down in 11th at the moment, Nico Salmela. Now, he's not really featured here. He's been pushed around a little bit in this race. He's at the back of this group, the number 27. Keep an eye on him. We've got 4.5 laps to go. He is one rider to watch. He was right there, just denied a victory. Ha! Christian Daniel there, that was the number 7 in the background. He's the one who's got the long lap penalty, by the way. Obviously, it has not deterred him from exceeding track limits. But back on Salmela, did expect a little bit more from him. Let's see what he can do in the last 4.5 laps. This is Max Quiles, who's so calm and relaxed out front, whilst this is all going on behind. What a fight this is.
Yeah, and you can see there for O'Gorman on the 67, he's lost 3 spots in the last half a lap as well, and it's just because of the way that the battle tends to go around this track. And down in towards the double apex right-hander, that's where we see a lot of riders really just put the bike down the inside, force the other rider to set it up, the same as what happens down into the last corner here as well. And you can see there for Ferrandez on the 93, comes from 7th up into the top 5 there as well. So you can make the double moves on a few places around this lap. As long as you're brave enough and have total faith in that front end, you'll make moves.
Yeah, the rider on the outside has got to have a lot of faith as well, but not in his front end, on someone else's front end. Moving through, Boggio. Oh, dear me, we're almost right pillion there. That was with Uriarte, I believe, for 4th place. So Boggio left that so late to make the move. O'Gorman back up into 2nd ahead of Pini's moment there. That was Uriarte out the seat. Oh, that's cost him a little bit of time, but he's just gathered it up. Salmela, we were saying he was down to 11th, he's up into 5th.
It's Gonzalez on the 11 as well. He consistently manages to keep himself up in that 5th, 6th position, and he's just stalking his way through. Casey O'Gorman, a big look over his shoulder, and he sees the 51 of Uriarte is now coming through.
Great spot that, Steve. I was just about to come on. Oh dear, 81 has gone down, and that's is
Tony
Luciano, the Belgian. Don't know what's happened there. Is that turn 4?
Looks like it's down at turn 4. That's a shame for him, but we'll see what happens in the afternoon race for him. This is back to our race leader, and the lead now stretched out to 7 seconds over Guido Pini. So super stuff out in front from Max Quiles, trying to claim his first race victory of the ETC season.
He could get 2 long lap penalties and still come out with a 2nd advantage here. Max Quiles is making this look so easy. He's got loads of time. Got daylight behind him for ages. So Quiles, so good, and look how relaxed he's looking. He looks like he's riding so easy.
He's looking relaxed. His teammate, though, Dodo Boggio, won't be relaxed. Boggio's dropped down to about 10th position on this lap, just getting outboxed, and being punted down the order in that 2nd group. And look at the 2nd group now as they come across the line. 3 laps to go.
Casey O'Gorman pulling out from 3rd, he's up into 2nd, but there comes your championship leader Uriarte on the 51. No, not this time. Salmela was down in 11th 2 laps ago, he's now 4th. Such is the nature of this group. Guido Pini still there in 5th place ahead of Ferrandez. And look at the 11 of David Gonzalez. He's just got Jesus Rios underneath him in the 54. So Gonzalez still in that group, still looking good. One rider we've not spoke about, and he's in 9th place, Giulio Pugliese. Had a great first round at Estoril, and he's just hanging on in there. The other rider on the luminous yellow teammates to the defending champion, the number 1 of Guido Pini. Keep an eye on the 31, who's just at the back of that first part of this big group.
I actually really like the 93, Alberto Ferrandez as well. There's a lot of times he's been able to carry so much more corner speed than some of the other riders. He's been attacked a few times, immediately answers back each time. Ferrandez, he's had a lot of podiums in the ETC, he's still chasing his first race victory. Obviously not going to happen in this race, but he's always been able to get himself into those top 5, top 6 spots all the way through his ETC career, and now's the chance for him to try and make sure he's able to come away with another podium in this battle. But you can see here the 54 as well, though. He's Rios is always on the offensive.
Rios coming through there. Rios actually taking the 54 for this year. So that is why Ferrandez is running the 93. One thing I want to touch on just quickly before this all lights up even more than it has done is that riders with experience taking them long sweeping lines. Ferrandez is one of them, and in JuniorGP we saw in the first race, Angel Piqueras another. That is a bit of experience coming into play. Same for Max Keeler's at the front. That experience, that confidence to have. Whoa, where are they going there? Hugging the white line on the inside of the circuit. Wow, good stuff all around as they somehow stayed on the track. They were almost cutting the grass. There's all on the inside that goes down with Gonzalez, not that time. But a bit of experience in the 2 classes we've seen already. That's why them riders are coming to the fore.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the ETC over the course of the last few years. Lots of riders having to stick around for a little bit longer as they gain their experience, just with those minimum age limits having increased for the Moto 3 class. That means that we've got lots of riders with lots of racecraft out there as well, and you can see, like you can.
I think I had a bigger moment. Sorry, Steve. Guido Pini just about getting launched out of the seat, and he's been put back. That has got to be. That is so far down. That is around 15th place. He's behind Emmanuel Brinton on the 43. The British rider, Emmanuel Brinton on the 43, is in this lead group. This group for second. That's how big it is. It's down to the last point to go in place. Great camera.
It's just all starting to stretch out a little bit now as well, and that's a big mistake from Pini, but that can happen as well in a group like this as everyone starts to increase their pace and attack.
Look at that, David Gonzalez. He just went through. Surely he did. I can't believe our timing monitor's not updated. Surely. No, it wasn't.
Torres.
It was his teammate. I thought that was a bit strange.
Has Torres taken his long lap penalty though as well?
Well, we'll find out. It's gone from our timing screens, but who knows? We'll find out at the end. Maybe no one knows. One man who doesn't even need to care is this one. 28 out in front, Max Keeles. It's job done, barring act of God on the last lap. We need to watch this battle for second. At the moment, Queso Gorman's got it. Who knows what it's going to be like at the end. Down across the line and into turn 1 for the final time. Jesus Torres keeps it, although he doesn't because his namesake Jesus Rios has come through.
Keep an eye on Pini on the number 1 machine down in towards turn 2 as well. He's trying to make a lot of progress in this group.
Oh, Ferrandez sideways on, that's up into 4th, it's up into 3rd as he's busting his way through past Rios. O'Gorman still second. O'Gorman deserves his second. He's looked good all the way through this. He's kept it neat and tidy. I hope I haven't just cursed him though. O'Gorman second for now. Ferrandez 3rd. 4th place. That is I think it is the 54 of Rios. So yes, it is ahead of Uriarte, your current leader, who's just gone back into 4th, and someone else getting their elbows out.
Looks like Rico might have been sat up a little bit there. Rico Salmel on 27.
Salmel on the 27 getting pushed and shoved. Ferrandez is going to. I thought he was going to let the brakes off on O'Gorman then. Steve, the last lap, we are with Max Keeles, but the battle for second. Predictions, dare we make any?
Predictions that it's going to end in heartache for someone, but Guido Pini on the number 1 machine. He won the championship last year. He's down there in about 7th spot now, needs to make up some spots. That looked like it might have been Torres taking his long lap penalty.
So Torres has been the fly in the ointment now. He's gone out and taken his long lap, so that's where he'll stay. We are in the final sector. Keeles has got this done off screen. We'll come to him in a minute. Here he is, Max Keeles, the number 28. From absolutely nowhere. He was down in 28th on the grid. He should have been on pole. It doesn't matter because he's won it anyway. Keeles. Oh! Skittles, and O'Gorman was one of them.
Ferrandez as well.
Somehow, after all of this, Guido Pini was 15th with 2 laps to go, has taken second. Salmela third. We were saying in the middle of that race how Salmela looked out of it. He takes third. Poggio fourth there to Pugliese, but chaos in the last corner.
Yeah, Rios went missing as well, so he's down there as well. That's the blue bike in the background.
Ferrandez as well. Ferrandez is down, and O'Gorman is still down in the gravel. So Ferrandez trying to get going again. We'll need a replay to see what happened. For sure we'll have it, because it's the last corner. Shenanigans in the European Talent Cup race 1 here at the circuit. Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. Max Quiles dominated that. He made it look easy. This is what happened. Oh, dear me. Oh, I think what's happened there is a couple of riders. Ferrandez got sideways, but he was then sideswiped anyway by Rios. And O'Gorman is the innocent party in all of that. The Irishman was on the outside. He left the door a little bit ajar, I must say. But he's on his racing line, and he's been scooped up by 2 riders, and he's still down. I really hope he's all right. The number 67, Casey O'Gorman, he did not need this because he missed the first round through injury. Great stand-up wheelies there. I mean, Van Tricht was the one in front. He got the last point-scoring position, the number 20. The 28 of Max Quiles. Well, what about it? Fantastic stuff. And I must say, we didn't mention it then in that crash. Rian Uriarte got caught up in it. He stayed on, he crossed the line in 8th place, just ahead of his teammate, Emmanuel Brinton. Fantastic ride from Emmanuel Brinton up into the top 10. So top-notch job from the British rider. Max Quiles is going to do a whole lap on the rear wheel at this rate. Fantastic stuff from the number 28, the 2021 European Talent Cup title winner. Well, if he's going to ride like that all year, that number 1 on Guido Pini's bike might be making a transfer. Pini, I can't believe it, has taken second. Outrageous. That was incredible. He was well down the order after, I think he had a bit of a misdemeanor. Well, he did have a bit of a misdemeanor. It caused me to have one here in commentary. That was that turn forward a couple laps ago, went right to the back of the group. And just to emphasise, what more do I know about motorcycle racing? Well, I was saying Salmela, he looks a bit out of it and maybe expects something. Well, at least he got something. Third, he would have wanted to be at the front, but a very smart ride from the Finnish rider from Tampere in Finland. Max Quiles, though, your race winner. What about that? Fantastic from Maximo. And yeah, celebrations say it all. Great stuff. So they were robbed of an Aspar Junior team race win in the Junior GP category when Joel Esteban was mugged on the last lap by Angel Piqueras. And now they've got a victory, so a little bit of gold to take back home up the road with them. Good stuff, though, all round in that race. A chaotic end. We're still waiting for news on Casey O'Gorman. The good thing was he was moving. Of course, he was, in inverted commas, okay. But he stayed down for a long time, and I hope he is all right. Second place for Guido Pini. Good job from Guido. Took the title here last year, so that is more good memories for him. And like I say, third for Rico Salmela. There was not a much finer job he could have done, really. No one looked like having the pace with Martinez. There's Salmela just getting weighed. He obviously weighs almost nothing because he is one of the smallest riders in this field. He's absolutely tiny. But Salmela in the third place. Another strong result from him. He was on the podium in the first race last time out. He was 6th in the second one. The second podium of the year, but it's a first victory of the year. After second in race 2 at Estoril, Quiles goes on to take honours. And this was the move. I think this was around lap 4 or 5. Quiles just moved on through, made it look easy, and he cleared off instantly. By the time they got to turn 2, he already looked like he had put a gap in. And that slow-mo more or less sums it up. Calm and collected out front as chaos reigns in the background behind. And as he crossed the line, yeah, he's still looking to see where they are. Great ride from Quiles. It's one of the best rides we've seen. He's always had that talent. And now, obviously, the 2021 champion, but he's got a great team around him. He was with Leglise before, a fantastic team themselves, but This is the direct link up to the World Championship and to World Championship titles. And you got to think, Quiles, there's a little bit of Ethan Guevara in him. There's a little bit. You can see it. Quiles has definitely got good potential. We're going to be hearing from him very, very soon. Steve is already down there ready and waiting to speak and check in with our race winner. And that is our second different race winner this year, of course, after Brian Uriarte took honours earlier on in the year. Quiles was second in this championship, so he was 17 behind. He will be on 58 points after this. Uriarte scored 8, so he's on 58. So they are both joint leaders at the top of the title race. Guido Pini was down in 15th after the opening round. 20 points for him will do his title race all very well indeed. Yeah, there's another look at that crash behind. The thing is, if there's a gap, you've got to go for it. These things happen. If he loses, if Jesus Rios lost the front on his own, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. I don't know if he did lose that. It looked like he just got a bobble on, to be honest. It looked like he got a bobble on. It ran in the back of Ferrandez. If only we had onboards, we could have a look. And then, obviously, that's skittle Ferrandez straight into O'Gorman, who is lying down there in pain. It looks like he's holding his right leg. But here's an interview. Steve is with Max Quiles. What a ride!
Max Quiles, what a race to get yourself from the back of the grid to out in front and then dominate here in the European Talent Cup.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. I still don't believe it. I had very good rhythm because in the free practice I worked a lot, and yeah, I was penalized for slow sectors. People were trying to get my slipstreams and everything, and well, I was convinced that I could get the group if I was last. And yeah, I had a long lap as well, so I did the long lap as fast as I can, and then I overtake everybody and I push as hard and I opened quite a lot of gaps, so yeah, I'm very happy. I want to thank my team and everybody, my mother, my dad, my sister, and yeah, and mi child.
And some words in Spanish?
Bueno, sí, a ver, ha sido una carrera increíble. Estoy muy contento, la verdad, tenía muy buen ritmo, en los entrenos lo practicaba bastante. Y bueno, me pusieron sectores lentos, tuve que salir último con una long lap, porque la gente quería cogerme la rueda y eso. Y bueno, estaba convencido de que podía llegar al grupo fácilmente, entonces pues salí a saco, abrí un poco de margen y ya me escapé bastante. Y bueno, esta carrera quiero dedicársela al equipo, a todo el mundo que está, mi madre, mi padre, mi hermana y a mi child.
Great job, Max.
Well, let's check out the highlights then of this one. Max Quiles said it was a crazy race. How does he know? He was so clear at the front. He had to do it the hard way though. Brian Uriarte inherited what should have been Max's pole. Uriarte hit the front straight away. We had skittles down at turn 2. Thankfully both riders up and okay. Quiles had to come through the order really quickly, to be honest, and he had a long lap as well for the slow riding in all sectors. Guido Pini, Uriarte, Ferrandez all did battle at the front, but very soon the 28 of Quiles made it into the lead, and he went. He was like a greyhound out of the traps, apart from he was like it for the entire race. Quiles just cleared off. He had a second lead after just a single lap. He had really checked out. Ferrandez was strong into turn 1, and he was going to utilise his strength in braking wherever he could, and that was where he looked at his absolute best. Casey O'Gorman was looking on the attack, as was the 54 of Jesus Rios. We'll see more of that a bit later on. Ferrandez, though, was up into second as they chopped and changed at the front. Uriarte, the championship leader, more or less always in that podium battle. O'Gorman going from 5th up into 2nd, and of course it didn't stop there. Pini was later relegated down through the field. O'Gorman looking good actually. He deserved that podium that he was soon to be taken from him, as we'll see. He was one of the few riders that looked stable right the way through the race. Guido Pini at this moment, he tagged the back of Rios, went off track almost in the gravel, gassed it up on the green, but he was down in 15th. whilst out front, Max Quiles could barely believe it. He took the honours, and then we had the pile-up. Rios taking out Ferrandez, and the innocent Casey O'Gorman sideswiped from behind. Hopefully he's okay. He already had an injury anyway. Max Quiles, though, as he said, #1, and despite being down in 15th, Pini joins him on the podium with Salmela. So, back with your live pictures here. Max Quiles, that was fantastic. The Aspar Junior team with an 8.9 second advantage come the end. And you've got to imagine that he rolled off in the last few laps. Unbelievable. Second for Guido Pini. Third for Rico Salmela, but they had no answer in race 1 for Quiles, who's back on the top step of the podium. Quiles has been a champion in this class before. That year, he did it in 2021 with 3 wins and 5 podiums. Last year, he only won 1 race. Did take 2 pole positions and 4 podiums. His race win came where? Here, after two DNFs in Estoril at the start of the year, and 1 DNF in race 1 last year at Valencia. He did manage to come through, and by that point he never left the top 4. It's just that start of the season that ended any realistic title hopes. He gave up 75 points. David Alonso presenting the trophy there too. Second place Guido Pini. David Alonso, of course, as well, the Colombian rider up in the Moto3 World Championship, had plenty of success in this paddock on his road to MotoGP. But Max Quiles on top of the box. Let's have the national anthem. You know it, it's Spain.
Ese aplauso del carrerón que se ha marcado Máximo Quiles.
So, we've heard it another time today, the Spanish national anthem. Will we hear it again in European Talent Cup style? Well, wait and see, and we'll come to that later on. ETC Race 2 scheduled for, I can tell you, 3 o'clock local time this afternoon. That's 2 o'clock back home if you're watching on BT Sport or in the UK and Ireland, or Portugal, of course, on YouTube. So, celebrations then. 2 races out of 6 already done, and we already need a lie down. We're going to check out the race results in a moment, and then the championship standings. As I said earlier, Quiles and Uriarte will be joint championship leaders. 58 points for them, if my maths is correct. Always doubtful. Steve is back with me in the commentary box. Steve, Quiles looking good down there in Parc Ferme. We'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. Quiles, your winner, ahead of Guido Pini in 2nd place, and Rico Salmela 3rd. Spain, Italy and Finland represented in the top 3. Dodo Poggio, Giulio Pugliese in 5th place. That was a fine performance from him, ahead of Donoso, who took his best ever result. Pugliese, likewise as well, his first top 5. David Gonzalez, expect more from him later on. He took 10th ahead of Hakim Danish, who really struggled to come through. Christian Daniel, the American, in 12th. Jesus Torres after a long lap in 13th. Alamar in 14th, and Owen van Schlicht, the Dutch rider, in 15th. Lots of crashes and DNF. Most notable ones, O'Gorman, Ferrandez and Rios at the last corner. Hopefully Casey O'Gorman is okay, and as soon as we get word up here in commentary, we'll give you an update throughout the rest of the day. But Michael Laverty's Vision Track team looking strong again in 2023. Luck just not on their side. Championship standings should be up next, and let's see if I am correct. It should be 58 apiece if I make it correct for Uriarte and for Your race winner, Max Quiles. Okay, maybe not, but we'll check that out later anyway. We'll get an update when we can. That is the European Talent Cup race all done. The grid is forming. That is because we will have the Moto 2 race coming up very soon. Here are your championship standings. Thank you very much. Yes, 58 apiece for Uriarte and Quiles. Salmela is third. David Gonzalez, consistent in fourth, 27 back, joint with Dodo Boggio. Guido Pini, your defending title holder, sixth, ahead of Danish Pugliese. Rouget Moodley, who's not here this racing weekend because of a crash yesterday in qualifying. The bike was a write-off. Expect more from him when the South African returns. Paulo Sena is in 10th, Adriano Donoso in 11th, Jesus Torres. Ferrandez, that position of 13 does not represent where he really is. Fine ride from Emmanuel Brinton as well, who went up the order. He is now on 7 points, courtesy of that 9th place finish, which is his best so far of the season. Expect to see more of him in the top 10. Maximo Quiles, full to the max. It was a fine ride in ETC Race 1. Let's see if anybody has even an answer. Later on, Race 2. This has been ETC. Moto 2 coming up next. Who's it going to be there? Don't go anywhere.